Hi all, and welcome to Authentic Leadership. Your hosts on the journey this week will be Divya, Emma, Nick, and myself, Josh. I'm sure that when you all hear the term authentic leaders, there's attributes or behaviours that may come to mind straight away. But is there any leader in particular that comes to mind? For our team, Nelson Mandela is a leader who stands out to us as someone that truly embodies authenticity. Nelson's strength was his authenticity, a trait that earned him the respect and admiration of the world. Mandela understood his own values. He knew who he was and he did not compromise when faced with hardship. He established strong relationships even with those who hindered him. He was incredibly disciplined. He was very compassionate. So what this tells us is that you just have to replicate this to display authenticity, right? Everything will end up fantastic. Well, that's one way of looking at it. But our journey today is about ensuring that what's truly displayed is truly felt. Authenticity in leadership isn't just a singular category. There are several attributes that create this. What we're going to be exploring today will be self-awareness, which Emma will take you through, relational transparency, where you'll hear from me again, Div will take you through internalized moral perspectives, and Nick will help us explore what is not authentic leadership and finish off with some key takeaways. So I'll now hand over to Emma, who will discuss the attribute of self-awareness.
Self-awareness is the cornerstone of authentic leadership. It is the conscious knowledge of yourself, your character, your feelings, and your values. It is one of the 5 elements of emotional intelligence, with the other elements being self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Some of the traits of self-awareness are to understand your emotions and how they may impact others, to have the confidence to trust in yourself, a willingness to take an honest look at yourself and be open to improvement. It is also about knowing your strengths and weaknesses and how you can capitalize and improve in these areas. Shivers Blackwell suggests that individuals who have a high level of self-awareness are skilled at adapting their behaviors to relate effectively with others. This awareness increases your ability to be authentic, it improves how you relate to others, and your effectiveness as a leader. Through my own self-reflection, I have discovered that at times I may struggle to maintain focus and remain fully present when I am with others. This self-reflection and awareness has helped me to be a more authentic leader. We are all human and we make mistakes. A self-aware leader learns from their mistakes and will aim to do better the next time. I'm now learning to improve my focus and my ability to remain anchored to conversations. Authentic leadership is about being genuine and being real at the workplace and at home. Authentic leaders will stay true to their values and beliefs. Authentic leaders are humble. They know how to harness their strengths and are mindful of their weaknesses. Authentic leaders consider the needs and feelings of others, and importantly, they will take responsibility for their own actions. Authentic leaders bring their real self 24/7, not what they think people want. To truly achieve authentic leadership, you must have a strong sense of self-awareness. Cairns suggests that leaders can be effective by changing their behaviours, but not their own standards or inner self to suit others. A leader cannot be authentic with others if they do not understand what this looks like for themselves. Every authentic leader is different. The key is to be genuine and to bring your real self 24/7. To be genuine, you must understand yourself and how you relate to and influence others. Hosmer suggests that authentic leaders have a responsibility to others to continue with their ongoing ethical self-assessment and to consistently act on what we learn and claim are our values. To be genuine and authentic, you must continue to develop your own self-awareness and your impact on others. Some key ways you can develop your self-awareness include having a continual commitment to learning and being open to change, asking for feedback and acting on what you discover. It's about ongoing self-reflection and how you interact with those around you. Mindfulness. It's about being present in the moment and paying attention to what is occurring around you. Authentic leaders, as part of their continual learning, will undertake personality tests to be more aware of their self and how they interact with others. In this week's online discussion activity, you will have an opportunity to participate in a personality test that is linked to your character strengths. You may be interested to discover what these strengths are and how you can use them to develop your leadership capability. I'll now pass over to Josh, who will talk about relational transparency. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Emma. Hi all, my name's Josh, and together we're going to explore the concept of relational transparency. Authentic leadership is built on your character, not your style. Just let those words resonate for a few minutes while we delve into the depths of relational transparency. Transparent leadership is the key to fostering a culture of trust in any level of organization. This genuinity involves being honest and straightforward in dealing with others, involving the open and sharing of information about one's thoughts and feelings. An authentic leader does not play games nor have hidden agendas. You know where you stand with an authentic leader. So now that we've explained a very top-line perspective on what this looks like, we're going to take you on a journey to understand how this occurs and why it's important. What we're going to explore next is just how this process occurs and the effects that it has on those that witness the occurrence. Avoli and Gardner identify and link the leadership processes and behaviours of relational transparency and how it essentially leverages an influential state of the leader-follower relationship. 1. Positive modelling. So there's a few stepping stones to be a transparent leader. Being honest, both the fun stuff and the hard stuff all play their part. Being open and accessible. Ask questions and show interest. Engage with your people. Demonstrate that level of care. Confront difficult situations. Invite disagreement and conflict in a functional way. Provide access to information. Share the resources that you have and involve people in decision making. Engage with the team and encourage ownership of decisions. 2. Identification. Not to be confused with recognizing who seems authentic or not, but the actual process in which followers come to identify with authentic leaders and their values in a personal and or social manner. With the modelling aspects just mentioned, I'm sure there's a few examples resonating in your minds out there. Have a think to yourself, what's authentic about me? Just to press pause for a minute, take a moment to reflect on a leader who you have identified with. We all have come into contact with those over the years. Just jot down a couple of points on why you felt that connection. If you have written down a few points, the next thing, emotional contagion, a form of social influence. This is the phenomenon of having one's personal emotions and behaviours directly trigger similar emotions and behaviours in other people. As positive emotions have found to lead to better attitudes, creativity, and performance, leaders can use their knowledge to impact this consciously by managing their own emotions and the emotions that they want to spread throughout their teams, which positively fosters the emotional and cognitive development of other organisational members. Supporting self-determination. Self-determination occurs through levels of self-regulation of both the leader and the follower. What the state of regulating yourself refers to is the capacity or the ability to control our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. How this would be demonstrated is a process where people exert self-control by setting internal standards, which can be existing or newly developed, assessing the discrepancies between these standards and actualized or expected outcomes, and identifying intended actions for reconciling these discrepancies. So what this process leads to is the characterization of high levels of respect, positive effect, positive trust. Leadership is all about harnessing relationships. High quality relationships generate a value congruence and follower reciprocation in the form of behavior that is consistent with the values of the leader. As we have highlighted, the aspect of transparency as a value is about being honest, open, visible, and accessible as a leader. When you have a transparent leader in a team or organization, there is an automatic level of trust.
Whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean, Basil?
Transparent leadership is the key to fostering a culture of trust between leaders and their followers. Followers who are kept in the loop and understand their role in the overarching process and purpose of the company, understandably, are more likely to put their trust in their leader. So, what does it all mean? Why is it so important? Problems are solved faster. Because teams are aware of the situations, developing solutions becomes faster and easier. It becomes easier to build teams. Synergy.
The concept of authentic leadership originates from ancient Greek philosophy that emphasizes on the development of fundamental virtues like being visionary, emotionally balanced, being fair-minded, and most significantly, moral courage to do the right thing. Thanks, Josh. I'm Divya, and I would be talking on internalized moral perspective of the leaders that can lead to authentic leadership. What is internalized moral perspective of a leader? As Peter Northouse states, it's a manner that is self-regulated and allows the leader to use their internal moral standards and values to guide their behavior rather than allow outside pressures to control them. And further explained as a self-regulated process that people have control over the degree to which they permit others to impact them. Why the need for moral leadership? It is not just the need, but people want moral leadership. People want leaders to share the emotions they are feeling and to put a voice to their concerns and dreams. An ethical leader performs as a moral person, upholding fairness and honesty in associations with subordinates and followers. Also acts as a moral manager, representing and supporting the morally suitable conducts. An authentic leader has the ethical fundamentals and is driven by ethics and fairness. Authentic leaders are habitually perceived by followers as being high in moral viewpoint and self-awareness, also seen as practicing fair decision-making and transparency. The authentic leaders are undoubtedly driven by integrity and justice, as their fundamentals are derived from ethics. It is essential for an authentic leader to know when to put the needs of the company and its customers ahead of themselves and the team. Ultimately, a leader should be focused on doing the right thing for the long-term success of the business. Furthermore, it is vital for a leader to have strong ethical values and exercise these traits even in the face of alluring and strong external forces. Now let's talk about moral courage. The moral courage is defined as a capability to use inner values to do what is virtuous for others, irrespective of any risk to self. Focusing on the moral courage, as it appears to be the main factor in determining whether leaders will act in line with their judgments and principles. As a matter of fact, some research has shown that ethical or the authentic decisions are faintly associated with the actual ethical behavior. However, there are many theoretical arguments on the significance of moral courage in endorsing authentic behavior of the leader. Amy J., Director of Acquisitions at Hotspot, observes the importance of being a leader whose behavior matches up with the morals to inspire in the team. For example, when an employee comes with a plan of making quick money and the idea is to make it tough for customers to know how to withdraw their subscription, thus they are forced to keep paying unless they call up the customer support. As a leader, it is important to identify the downfall of this kind of choices, and that calls for leader to be prudent. A leader must be thoughtful and wise enough to understand that this idea may momentarily boost the business. However, long-term loyalty would not be the outcome of this. as it is not a choice made out of integrity or fairness for the customer. Correspondingly, leader must act based on what is right, and that requires leader to have higher level of moral courage. The pro-social behavior is observed as a deliberate behavior that is influenced by a leader's moral courage, as moral courage involves in summoning inner values to do what is upright for others. The pro-social conduct of leaders, which refers to behaviors that go beyond specified role requirements and that display actions taken to guard the business and co-workers' welfare. This includes progressive actions carried out to produce and preserve the well-being and integrity of others, such as assisting employees and team, sharing and treating co-employers with dignity. Being an authentic leader means leading by example. It's about demonstrating through the actions that leaders practice the same values and behaviors that they expect from the team. Eventually, authenticity is also a leadership skill that can often be developed or faded over time, subject to the conscious efforts of the leader. To ensure leaders are able to lead the team with a moral point of view, it is important that leaders continue motivated to be morally truthful every time they are required to. It's a known fact that it's not very easy to become an authentic leader. It takes a great deal of self-reflection and the moral courage to do the right thing, and involves a degree of selflessness. In a world filled with morally corrupt and dysfunctional leaders, authentic leadership philosophy has become widespread as a result of constant pursuit for the authentic leaders. I will now pass this over to Nick, who will talk further on the subject. Thank you very much.
Thanks all for the wonderful insights provided thus far. To provide a well-rounded viewpoint from the wider team, my task is to explore what isn't authentic leadership and to play devil's advocate on the topic. What events or industries can change how people may view operating with authenticity, and how can we truly pinpoint what being authentic is? Is it modelling your values on an organisation like the United Nations? Or is it just simply instilling a culture of not ripping the customer off when they walk into your retail store and ask for the latest and greatest? Further, is it none of the above and just an imaginative concept open to interpretation based on where you are in life, who you interact with, and the social expectations of immediate friend circles or work colleagues? As the Harvard Business Review recognised, ever being truly authentic is more relevant than ever. As sales budgets increase, as a perfect example, the values and belief around operating ethically play a key part in 1, how hard an individual has to work to hit a required number, 2, how much profit is driven out of products and services, and 3, the manner in which you deliver sales pitches, product recommendations and outcomes. In the professional space, it's far easier to identify authenticity, integrity, and associated concepts. To explore what isn't authentic leadership, exploring the related psychological aspects of morality, emotional intelligence, and the ability to reflect provide an important basis to which we can explore unethical and inauthentic behaviours. Obvious aspects of leading authentically include abiding by the law and treating others with respect, but often there's a far deeper reason intelligent, driven leaders become disengaged or begin operating unethically, as shown here. So how do these theoretical buzzwords and ideas present in the real world, and how can you identify what's not authentic leadership and ethical behaviour? To draw upon a practical example, let me paint the picture for you. The performance management process is clearly underway in this example. With the current leader being unaware there's a replacement in the wings, you can begin to recognise patterns of behaviour that gauge the team's overall opinion on the workplace. Distracted behaviour, anxiety, rumours and speculation internally ultimately lead to a toxic workplace. The damage done will be difficult to undo for the new leader. However, by embracing emotional intelligence principles, acting with morality and ethically, as well as setting clear and obvious boundaries, it's likely this ship will be steered in the right direction. Thanks, Josh, for providing this practical example. Finally, from us, I wanted to provide you with some key actionable items to take both into your working and personal lives. The great thing about authenticity and ethical behaviours is that they're aspects of an individual that aren't necessarily defined wholly and solely to your professional self. They're personal traits, often embedded from a young age, that has a ripple effect from our personal selves to the final iteration of our professional body. Thank you all, and please refer to the Week 9 discussion boards for an associated activity I'm sure you'll all enjoy.